Hello everyone, I'm Brandonppr, and today we're going to challenge how we think about energy. Today, I'll introduce the conservation of flow intensity in RLFlow, a new perspective that unites classical physics, quantum mechanics, and cosmic evolution into a single dynamic framework. Let's dive in. We've all heard it before. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. This idea has shaped physics for centuries, from Newton's mechanics to Einstein's relativity. We picture energy as something stored in objects, passed around like currency, traded between kinetic, potential, and thermal forms. But what if energy isn't a thing at all? What if it's not contained in objects, but instead woven into the very fabric of the universe? Today, I want to introduce you to a different way of thinking about energy, one that doesn't just conserve it, but reveals its true nature as a flowing, adaptive, and interconnected force. This is the conservation of flow intensity in RLFlow. The problem with the classical view. Classical physics treats energy as a number on a balance sheet. Energy goes in, energy goes out, but the total remains unchanged. It's a clean, simple law, one that works well in many situations. But there's a flaw in this picture. Energy isn't really a thing you can move from place to place like a stack of coins. It's a behavior, a pattern of motion, a quality of a system. And yet, we still talk about energy as if it's stored in objects, waiting to be transferred like a bank transaction. RLFlow challenges this view. It says, energy is not something you own. It is something you are a part of. Instead of picturing energy as a possession, we should see it as an evolving flow field, where intensity is redistributed, not traded, not stored, but continuously reshaped. Flow intensity conservation, a new paradigm. Think of a river. It moves, shifts, and swirls. Some parts are calm, others rush violently, and still others spiral into whirlpools. But no part of the river is truly separate. Now imagine that instead of energy being a number in an equation, it is the intensity of the river's movement. The river never loses its water, but it constantly rearranges its flow. Fast currents become still pools become rapids, and everything is in constant transformation. This is what RLFlow calls the conservation of flow intensity. Rather than thinking of energy as a static quantity, we recognize that what stays conserved is not energy as a thing, but energy as a dynamic relationship among flows. No energy is ever lost. No energy is ever created. The total intensity of the flow remains constant. It just finds new ways to express itself. The three energy forms in RLFlow. Now, to really grasp this, we need to revisit the three primary forms of energy in RLFlow. Resonance energy, the stable, persistent patterns of a flow. Think of a calm whirlpool holding its shape without constant input. Kinetic energy, the energy of motion, turbulence, acceleration, a raging rapid, full of dynamic interactions. Potential energy, the stored capacity for future change. Water held behind a dam, waiting to be released. At any moment, a system's total flow intensity is the sum of these three forms. But here's the crucial point. They can transform into one another. Dynamic transformations in RLFlow. This is where conservation in RLFlow gets exciting. It's not about keeping energy in fixed containers. It's about how the flow field continuously adapts while preserving total intensity. Consider these transitions. Potential to kinetic. Water behind a dam surges forward when released. What was once a stable configuration becomes dynamic motion. Kinetic to resonance. A rushing river slows into a smooth, stable whirlpool. Motion reorganizes into a structured, persistent pattern. Resonance to potential. A calm pool deepens behind a rock, quietly storing energy in its configuration, waiting to be set in motion. In each case, the total intensity is conserved, but its expression shifts. Energy isn't transferred, it is rebalanced. Why this matters? This shift in perspective has profound implications. A more fluid perspective on physics. Traditional physics isolates energy into objects. RLFlow sees energy as an emergent property of a larger, interconnected system. Conservation is not about transactions, it's about adaptation. Bridging scales from quantum to cosmic. From the tiniest quantum fluctuations to the swirling galaxies, RLFlow applies the same principle. Total flow intensity remains constant, even as it changes form. In quantum mechanics, what we call superposition could be multiple resonant states existing simultaneously. In cosmology, dark energy might not be a mysterious force. It could simply be flow intensity redistributing across an expanding flow field. A universe that is alive, not static. In RLFlow, conservation of energy isn't a bookkeeping rule. It's the heartbeat of a living system. The universe is not a machine moving lifeless parts. It is a flow field in motion, constantly adjusting, constantly finding balance, constantly evolving. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a deeper understanding of energy, not as a thing, but as a pattern of transformation within a vast, interconnected field. It leaves us with a universe that isn't a static grid of objects, but a fluid, adaptive, ever-changing flow field where energy finds new forms but never disappears. And it leaves us with a new way of thinking, not just about physics, but about life itself. Because if energy is never lost, only transformed, then neither are we. Thank you.